Hello. Welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Megs. I could just go by Megs V. And if you're returning, welcome back. We have another sort of health related topic sitting down in my guest room, ready to chat some things with you. I've got a trusty whiteboard of some things I want to go over. So today we're going to be talking about neutralizing your relationship with food and your body. I want to give the same disclaimer that I gave in my last video that I'm not an expert. I'm merely speaking from personal lived experience when I lost around 170 pounds and things that I did to help repair my relationship with food, with myself, and with my body. Okay, so number one, which has sort of a sister cousin for number two, is in order to neutralize / improve my relationship with food and my body and my mind, was letting go of this concept of good foods and bad foods. And I touched on this a little bit in my last video when I was talking about I use this language of foods I intend to eat and foods that I don't intend to eat. And the reason for that, for me personally, was if I were to say that I was on a diet and tell people I was on a diet, and I would eat breakfast and lunch, exactly good foods, healthy, nutrient dense, good foods for health in my body. And then let's say I'd have one taquito. I would look at that day and with this all or nothing mentality and be like, well, I ate bad today because I had one bad food. But I was giving myself permission to continue eating bad because I had one bad thing. So when I was repairing my relationship with food, I had to stop looking at foods as having inherent value. There are foods that make you feel good. There are foods that don't make you feel good. Sometimes the foods that don't make you feel good can be quote unquote good foods. You can have stomach issues if you eat broccoli. So this whole relationship of good and bad wasn't working for me. And I decided through the help with this program that I was in and working with mental health professionals, which I highly recommend you seek out if you feel like you're in this place, it's food I intend to eat and food I don't intend to eat. Those became the two categories. And if I ended a day and I said, wow, I ate a lot of food that I didn't intend to eat, it didn't feel as black and white of a failure. It's I didn't intend to eat those things, but it's not necessarily bad that I did. And I don't need to punish myself. I don't need to give up. And sort of lowering the stakes on it was really helpful for me. So that is my first, is remove the terminology of good and bad food. And I will say, if you want to use terms like nutritionally dense food, not nutritionally dense food, if you want to find another way to categorize these sort of 2 to 3 main categories, I really encourage you to do that. What worked best for me was foods I intend to eat and foods that I don't intend to eat. So the second item is how you communicate your behavior change, lifestyle change, habit change, eating change to other people. And what I mean when I say that is when you are at an office or school or whatever event, birthday party perhaps, and cake comes out and you're like, no, I hadn't planned for this. And you're gonna have these moments of unplanned eating that's gonna come towards you. Someone is gonna bring in donuts to the office and you're gonna be like, no, I hadn't planned on eating that. And now it's right in front of my face. There is a ton of social pressure associated with food, and I would love, if there's interest, to do a video on the way I navigated the social change while I was losing weight and also having maintained weight loss. So if that's of interest to anyone, please let me know in the comments. I definitely have a ton of experience dealing with that. So what I have found to be the most successful way to communicate that I wasn't going to eat a thing, and we'll just say today it's chocolate cake, is saying, that's not in my planned eating for today. You don't have to say, I'm on a diet and da-da-da. You don't have to explain yourself. You are definitely in a state of vulnerability at that moment. Someone is trying to hand you a plate of chocolate cake, and there's a couple different ways that you can address that. You can, if you don't feel like your discipline is strong, I would recommend, or at least through my own experience, just not even taking it. That's not what I had planned to eat today. Thank you so much. You can always, give a deferral of, I'd love to get coffee, in a couple days to celebrate your birthday one-on-one. But this is not in my planned eating. And thank you so much for understanding. You don't have to justify yourself. And I find the less that I said, the less pushback that I got. Because some people who have not been super morbidly obese might not understand this, but when you are the largest, heaviest person in the room, there is this sense of awkwardness if you don't eat the chocolate cake. And all of these people who are smaller than you are, it feels like half of it is they're looking at me like, I know you want the cake. You're almost 400 pounds. I know that you want the cake. And they're right, I do want the cake. But that's not in my planned eating for the day. And I think the other half is when small people who are have less body weight see someone larger than them not eating an unhealthy food. I think it makes them feel uncomfortable, like they can't eat it. And I can't really speak for this being on the other side of it, because I am still technically classified as overweight at my current weight. But when I was super morbidly obese, I definitely felt like it was basically impossible to say no to unhealthy stuff in social settings, because people looked at my body and they're like, are you really gonna try to pretend like you're gonna say no to food? So I tried to build out better language and boundaries, and my biggest recommendation to people would be to say less. It may seem like a good idea at the time to announce every time you are changing your eating habits, but I think that's how you can build sort of a reputation as a yo-yo person, where you're eating a certain way and then you stop, and you're eating a certain way and then you stop. And so if they come to you with chocolate cake, they're probably going to pressure you more than if you said, that's not in my planned eating, thank you so much. You don't have to divulge everything that's going on in your personal life. You can still build social support, but I would say really focus on having strong language, preventing yourself when you get into these unplanned eating moments that you sort of need to figure out how to navigate out of. All right, number 3. And this is a really, really fun one. I'm sure that most people watching this video, if they're interested in weight loss, restarting an interest in weight loss, or maintaining, the ever popular discussion of hunger cues. I had heard so much about hunger cues growing up. Your stomach grumbling, you're getting lightheaded, you're feeling hangry. I feel like there's so much discussion around hunger cues. I never needed to know, I never needed to hear that. I could eat at any time. I will say I have a stronger relationship with my hunger cues, but what I had never heard about until I sort of began this journey of healing my relationship with food and losing the weight was fullness cues. And that is what I want to talk about. I want to acknowledge that hunger cues are absolutely important, but what I wish I would have heard on the internet was about fullness cues. So fullness cues, and again, I'm not an expert on all of this, but what I have learned is your body also starts to give you some signals that you're full. So just like your stomach starts growling, you might get a little bit of a headache, there are likely signs that are unique to you that you are getting full. For me, my nose tends to start running just a tiny little bit. I'll be eating something and I'll have to do a big sniffle. I've got 4 bites left maybe until I start not feeling good, which I have gone into the overeating now, where I'm feeling physically uncomfortable. That is, for me, too full. So the way that it was explained to me was, if it's a gas tank, you never want to be below a quarter of a tank. So you never want to be running on empty, but you never want to be full, full, full. You want to sort of be in that middle range, not up here, somewhere in here. For me, this was such a game changer, because it was so easy to listen to my body when I was hungry, because I was a large person and I ate a lot of food and I was hungry a lot of the time. But I would absolutely eat past fullness, and that is what caused a lot of my weight gain throughout my entire life. And when I learned to start noticing fullness cues, a lot of people will start burping, people will start these big heavy sighs. When that starts happening, that's often your body and the chemical reactions from your stomach to your brain telling you, I'm done. Now, the other part of it is there is a point where you can know that you're full and choose to keep eating and eat past that feeling of fullness. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is sitting down, eating a meal, and feeling how your body feels. Like, do your hands feel different when you're really full? Does your face feel different? Does it feel tight? Does it feel constrained? Do you get the hiccups? Do you start sniffling? Do you start burping? Do you feel the need to like get up and walk around? Your body will absolutely start to tell you when it is full. And as someone who is super morbidly obese, I was either asleep that day in nutrition education, or it was never really explained to me in the same way that hunger cues were. And I definitely grew up in a family where overeating was encouraged. Clear your plate. There are starving children in other countries. You need to eat all your food. So I spent a lot of my life ignoring fullness cues, and it probably took me a good 2 years to get to a place where I felt like I knew when I was done eating, when my body was done, not when my head was done, because it could be the most delicious, amazing bites on the plate. So my mind wasn't done eating, but I could tell when my body was done eating. And that was the most important thing to me. So I could ramble on about this forever. Again, this could be a totally separate video. But what I really hope the takeaway for number 3 on hunger and fullness cues is sit down, do a little bit of Googling, a little bit of research on what hunger and fullness cues can look like. And then I would really encourage you to sit down and eat a meal and start to identify how your body physically feels while you're eating the meal, and see if you can figure out when your stomach is about 3/4 full, maybe your stomach is starting to communicate that to your brain, and see if you can really hone in and listen to when your body is telling you that you're full. Again, if this is something that you've ignored for a long time, like I did, it did take some time to kind of figure out what that looked like for me. But I would really, really encourage you to just sit down and do that for a single meal. If you can take away one actionable item from this video, that is what I would recommend. Number 4, and my last one for this video, I'm just hit the tripod, is this concept that I have called everything counts. And it sounds so silly. And again, I don't think that I'm saying anything particularly novel here. I just spent a lot of time on YouTube looking for answers, and I found some, but I didn't find everything. And I'm sort of hoping to fill some of the gaps of things that I wish I had seen on YouTube when I was attempting to lose some excess body fat. Provide examples of what that has looked like for me over the course of this journey. So in the beginning, when I was, again, nearly 400 pounds, going to the gym was equal parts horrifying and terrifying. And I would say probably about 70% of the days that I went to the gym, I did not want to be there, like at all. Like I cringe thinking back to how uncomfortable I was in my body, how uncomfortable I was being seen by people at the gym, what I perceived to be dirty looks or people snickering. It was truly awful. And I recognize that a lot of it was indeed in my head. But I'm just saying that I empathize with people who are deciding to go to a public gym to work on their fitness. If they are at a really high weight, it can be difficult to not only use the machines, but just to be seen in the bright, like fluorescent gym lights. It is really, truly something. So for me, everything counts was I give myself permission to go walk on the treadmill at the gym for 5 minutes and leave. I give myself permission to drive to the gym and go sit in the sauna and not work out for a single minute and leave. Because to me, that still counted. Because yes, I was going there to work out, but the real muscle that I was actually trying to build was discipline. And so if I got myself to the gym, that was actually the goal. It was just an extra bonus if I worked out at the end of the day. When I was at that weight, just going and doing something that I did not want to do was the most important action. And I would say probably like every 10th or 12th day, I would be there for less than 10 minutes. I didn't want to be there for whatever reason. I had something else going on. I had something else that I wanted to do more of. I definitely spent plenty of visits to the gym, like key fob in, key fob out. And there's no shame in that because it got easier to go on the days that I didn't want to go. And so instead of having this thing in my mind that a workout only counts if I go and do 30 minutes on the elliptical and then go do 5 sets of blah, 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 blah. No, I had to like remove that ideology from my life. Everything counts. If it has positive intentionality behind it, it absolutely counts. There is no like bottom for me in that way. And so I would really encourage folks, especially if you are in a like morbid obese weight class right now, to focus more on building up the skills to do something you don't want to do, because that is way harder than actually exercising. At least it was for me. So again, I could do an entire additional solo video on all 4 of these things. But I would say the final 2, the hunger and full cues and the everything counts mentality, have been the things that I still feel that I carry with me the most. So those are the 4 items I wanted to review in this video. If any of these topics interest you, I would be delighted to do a standalone video. I also have some more videos, but if you've never watched a video on my channel, my name is Megs again, and I sort of post like 4 primary categories of content. I have content about my daily life. I have content around hair, makeup, skincare. I have content around health and wellness. For me, this is again talking about how I lost 170 pounds and may have maintained that loss. And it is more focused on the mental aspect of weight loss than any sort of workout in the gym. And then the 4th category, which I've not posted any content on, is about my dog and how amazing she's been for my life and sort of our story together. And she's really cute. If you follow me, if you are subscribed, you might have seen some shorts with her, but I'm always looking to post more dog content. So if you want to see anything for any of those 4 categories, please subscribe. If you have any video requests, please put them in the comments. I'm happy to honestly yap about anything for an unholy amount of time. I never run out of things to say. So I want to thank you so much for making it to the end of this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Hey, it's me.